Savinkal National Park. General information about the Savinkal National Park. Location. The Savinkal National Park is located east from Lake Neusiedl in Burgenland, one of Austria's 9 states. It has its name because Winkel means angle in German, and the national park is located in the angle formed by Lake Neusiedl. Climate. The temperatures here range between 40 degrees Celsius in the summer and minus 20 degrees Celsius in the winter. Pannonian climate prevails in the Savinkal region. The area experiences 2 to 3 periods of precipitation, with an average annual amount of precipitation of 600 millimeters, a temperature medium of at least 10 degrees Celsius, an average of 61 days of summer with temperatures above 25 degrees Celsius, and is therefore the hottest region in Austria. The east shoreline of Lake Neusiedl is one of the windiest areas in the European inland. The power of the wind is used to drive wind turbines, thus generating energy. Burgenland currently has 426 wind turbines with a capacity of 1026 MW. With its high wind power capacity, Burgenland generates 30% more electricity than is consumed in total in this province, and can supply large centres of consumption such as Vienna with electricity. Animals. The Savinkal National Park is a border area between the Alps and the Hungarian lowlands for animals and plants. There are even species that are native to both alpine, Asian and Mediterranean areas. Savinkal is also famous for its wide variety of birds because the national park is a popular stopover, widely used as a rest stop for birds migrating between Europe and Africa. Therefore, during autumn, the grey plover, Pluvialis squatarola, the sanderling, Calitris alba, the little stint, Calitris minuta, the curlew sandpiper, Calitris ferruginea, the dunlin, Calitris alpina, or the spotted redshank, Tringa erythropus, are used in the alkaline ponds of the Savinkal National Park as a resting and feeding place. Other waders like the pied avos, Recovirostra avosetta, the northern lapwing, Vanellus vanellus, and the Eurasian curlew, Numenius aquata, also gather there before moving further south. In autumn, you can also see a lot of geese around Savinkal. In early autumn, they are mostly the grey-lag goose, Anse, and as the winter gets closer, more Nordic species like the greater white-fronted goose, Anse albifrons, arrive. During a year, over 350 different species of birds have been reported and documented in the area around Lake Neusiedl. It is also a breeding ground for over 120 different kinds of birds. But the national park does not only have interesting birds. You will also find the white barrack donkey, Hungarian grey cattle, Przewalski horses, and the water buffalo. Plants. The Savinkal National Park accommodates very interesting and unique plants. The plant that is most striking in the early autumn days is the sea aster, Tripolium pannonicum. Like other plants in National Park Seewinkel, the sea aster has adapted to the salty conditions. It mostly grows in meadows and the shorelines of alkaline ponds that were flooded in spring. Alkaline ponds. There are more than 40 alkaline ponds spread over an area of 25 square kilometers. The biggest one is the Lange Lacke, English long pond. The ponds have a maximum depth of 0.7 meters and regularly dry out over the summer. The original 150 or so alkaline ponds were formed during the Ice Age when large ice lances left tub-shaped depressions in what is now the national park. Today, many ponds are surrounded by reed belts. The alkaline ponds are very special and unique biotopes and provide a habitat for many rare animal and plant species, like the Hornungia procumbens. They are also being used as a resting place for migratory birds. The reed belt. The reed belt of Lake Neusiedl is one of the biggest contiguous reed areas in Europe that extends over most of the shoreline of Lake Neusiedl. Its size is significant for nature conservation because a huge percentage of all the organisms in Europe that live in the reed occur in the reed belt in the Savinkal National Park. The reed is very well adapted to the characteristics of Lake Neusiedl. Its width ranges from 100 meters to 5 kilometers, and in the Hungarian part of the lake, there is an area where the reed belt is 11 kilometers wide. The reed belt is also the reason for the buildup of silt in Lake Neusiedl. This is happening due to the fertile soil around the lake. There is also a lot of wind. The wind carries small sediments from the fields. These sediments get caught in the reed and sink to the lake bottom. Because the shoreline of the lake is very flat and the sediment of the soil is very fertile, new reed grows very quickly. This leads to the reed belt moving more and more into the lake. In hot summers with little rain, the impacts of this effect are the strongest. Apart from the reed, there are only a few swamp plant species like the swamp sawgrass, Cladiomariscus, the sea claprush, Bolchonoes maritimus, and the soft-stem bulrush, Chenoplectus taberni montani, that grow in that area. The open water areas are populated by duckweed species, while the underwater plants are represented by bladderwort, Utricularia, and spiny water nymph, Naias marina. The reed belt is also home for different bird species like the pygmy cormorant, Phalacrocorax pygmaeus, the great egret, Ardea alba, and the Eurasian spoonbill, Platadea leucorudia. Lake Neusiedl. Lake Neusiedl is one of the few steppe lakes in Europe and is mostly located in Austria, between the Alps and the Hungarian lowland. In total, the lake is 380 square kilometers, of which 180 square kilometers are part of the reed belt big. 90 square kilometers are located in Hungary and 230 square kilometers in Austria, which makes it the biggest lake area in Austria. Furthermore, the lake is 306 kilometers long, 14 kilometers wide, and its depth ranges between 1 meter and 1.8 meters. Lake Neusiedl is the most easterly located steppe lake in a series of steppe lakes stretching from Eurasia to China. Animals in Lake Neusiedl. Lake Neusiedl is home to over 30 fish species, among others. Some of them are the European eel, Anguilla anguilla, the common carp, Cyprinus carpio, the sander, Sander lucioperca, the northern pike, Essox lucius, the Welsh catfish, Silurus glanis, the stickleback, Gasterus dida, the common bleak, Alburnus alburnus, and the silver bream, Blicker björkna. How and when did Lake Neusiedl originate? Lake Neusiedl originated in the Böhm glaciation between 70,000 and 10,000 years ago, when rivers brought huge amounts of gravel from the Alps to the land east from the lake. Near the end of that time period, about 13,000 years ago, a tectonic subsidence originated and Lake Neusiedl was formed. Why is Lake Neusiedl dull? Because of Lake Neusiedl's low depth, the water contains a lot of fine-toned sediment. When there is wind, this leads to the water being mixed around a lot, which is the reason for the water being dull. Is Lake Neusiedl salty? Lake Neusiedl is in fact salty, but unlike in the sea, the salt isn't made from natrium chloride, but it consists of sodium carbonate and a small part of Glauber salt. The salinity in Lake Neusiedl comes from the subsoil of the lake basin, or more precisely the salty Tethys sediments that were covered by a layer of Danube sediments during the Ice Age. What plants grow in Lake Neusiedl? The most common water plants in Lake Neusiedl are the sago pondweed, Potamogetum pectinatus, and the spide water milfoil, Myriophyllum spicatum. Near the reed you can find rigid hornbird, Ceratophyllum demersum, and the spiny water nymph, Naias marina. Does Lake Neusiedl ever dry out? The last time Lake Neusiedl completely dried out was between the years of 1864 and 1870, due to the weather in a long arid period combined with humans influencing in and outflow. During long arid periods, the lake sometimes partially dries out. In summer, when it gets really hot, the lake loses about 3 billion liters of water per day. That means that the lake drops about 1 centimeter per day. The water quality of Lake Neusiedl. Due to the brown color of Lake Neusiedl and the dullness of its water, you probably would assume that its water quality is not rated as good. But since 1990, the water quality of Lake Neusiedl has ranged between the trophic levels mesotrophic and oleotrophic. Therefore, the water quality of Lake Neusiedl is actually excellent. Which rivers feed Lake Neusiedl? Lake Neusiedl is mostly fed by rain. The only significant river flowing into Lake Neusiedl is the Vulka, a river that originates in the Rosalia Mountains that are the foothills of the Alps. To whom does Lake Neusiedl belong? Like most of the lakes in Austria, Lake Neusiedl is owned by someone. Most of the Austrian part of the lake is owned by the family Esterhazy. Some small parts belong to the residential communities. The Hungarian side of Lake Neusiedl. 1/5 of Lake Neusiedl is located in Hungary. The Hungarian area bordering Lake Neusiedl is located southeast of the lake and is called Honjak. Honjak is a 460 square kilometer low moor area and is located mostly in Hungary. Only 70 square kilometers of it is located in Austria. The deepest point in the basin is the small Hungarian plain.